to town, and in between, I see you in the morning light. New York, Boston, Philadelphia, LA, I still see your face. Buses roll, distance grows, but I remember you're just a dream away. Working my way, coming back to you. Working my way, coming back. Take me home tonight, not wasting any time. Highway 95, engines on overdrive. From town to town, and in between, I'll see you in the morning light. Light on as I drive on, singing our song. Keep the light on as I drive on, singing our song. Take me home tonight, not wasting any time. Highway 95, engines on overdrive. From town to town, and in between, I see you in the morning light. Take me home tonight, not wasting any time. Highway 95, engines on overdrive. From town to town, and in between, I see you in the morning light. Take me home tonight, not wasting any time. Highway 95, engines on overdrive. From town to town, and in between.
Well, good afternoon. Monday, August 30th, 2:05 PM Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to What Are the Odds with Barnes and Baris. Only today, it's Baris. And Baris. Rich Baris, People's Pundit. I'm Helen Half, your host. Barnes is in trial today. All right? But we are moving forward because that's how we roll. I got some show announcements and some polling project announcements I want to make before I get into generally the content that will include me vetting about things that piss me off. All right? And, yeah, I'm flexible on it, with where we're going to go. But generally, let's just talk today. Without Robert here, I was going to get into California. I think you all know where I stand on that. We can briefly recap that. But, generally speaking, I think the mood of the day is Afghanistan again. We've had some pretty big stories. I thought I'd take today to explain the pretty big scoop we had over the weekend, which got a lot of attention. And I do know directly scared the Marine Corps a little bit, which is good. Good. Starting to act like a bunch of Soviets over there, which we'll talk about too. Show stuff, polling stuff, and then we get to the meat and potatoes. All right. First of all, we will, as usual, the locals community, peoplespundit.locals.com. Always add some great feedback. I put out the first draft questionnaire of the Labor Day project, which I am, basically same tracking stuff. We are adding some things, which I'm going to share with you now. We're removing some things. So there are things we track all the time. And then there are prescient issues of the day, which we add as we go. I thought that we could easily remove the Division in America questions, which we still have material yet to go over. But basically, that was one of those one-time deals, and we'll move on to something else. So great suggestion. I had thought about it. I was wondering how we were going to do it. Great feedback by multiple people on Locals to say that we should add booster status or intent and/or intention to the COVID tracker, which we're going to do. So but we're going to do it logic based. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't make any sense to ask everybody that question. If you have been vaccinated and you indicate during the interview that you have been vaccinated, they will be funneled off using logic to another question which asks, and let me get you exactly how it's worded because now it's there. And Locals, you'll have this very soon, okay? That's right. I also got to talk about the generic ballot. Which one? The name? Well, let's stick to one thing at a time, all right? Let's not bounce around here. All right, so it's going to make me sign in again, isn't it? Nope, it's not. All right. So we asked first, please tell us which best describes you in regards to the coronavirus COVID-19 vaccine. And we've been doing this for 6 months. I have already been vaccinated. I intend to get vaccinated. I have no plans to be vaccinated. If you choose, I have already been vaccinated. Then we want to know, and I was thinking, I did struggle with whether or not to include people who give an intention. But number one, that group is the smallest group now. That's number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, they could tell us their intention all they want. Once they get the first 2 shots, then we'll ask them about boosters. But there's really no point at this juncture, especially since the U.S. made the decision to go to the route that Israel went, almost basically, to try to achieve 100% vaccine immunity, and will now be relying on boosters. All right, so please tell us which best describes you in regards to the 3rd dose, otherwise referred to as a vaccine booster. And then we just tweaked how we gave same 3 choices, essentially. We just tweaked them a little bit. I have already been given the booster. I intend to get the booster. I have no plans to get the booster. Why is this? We heard and hear from a lot of people who tell us, I got 2 jabs. I'm not getting another one. I put on the mask. I got the jabs. Now you want me to get a booster? Now you want me to put back on the mask? Now you want this? You want a passport? No. See this? That's me drawing a line in the sand.
Oh.
Ooh. So.
Not an Obama line.
Not an Obama line. A legit red line. All right? And we will continue to ask about trust and the perception. YouTube, don't have a canary. Perception of trust and efficacy, which I mentioned on the interview with Allison Morrow. If you didn't catch that from the weekend, it was a great interview. I really enjoyed it, Allison. Thanks for having me on. Join you again soon. All right. I enjoyed it, and we discussed this. And what was really important is that great deal number has collapsed, folks. If you're a Locals, member, go look. And soon we'll have landing pages to make this all very simple for you. You will not have to go back in your history and see where the link is to the interactive crosstabs I shared with you before. This will be on a landing page along with graphics we think are top line worthy. And you'll be able to use a little select drop down. Some of you have seen that already. And we'll make this very simple on you. But for now, you got to go back and you got to look over the months that we have been tracking this, 6 months now. And you can look and see that great deal number was significantly higher. 52, 53%. It has dropped 20 plus points. So while the combination of people who say not very much or none at all has generally stayed in the same ballpark, 25 to 33%. Actually, what was the lowest? 27 maybe, but roughly, something like that. The difference is that percentage for great deal, which indicates, that's fine. That has collapsed 20 points. A lot of it has gone over to quite a bit. And then the number of people who say none at all has grown a little bit. All right. And something to keep an eye on. All right. As of right now, the mandate questions are still there because every fake poll from every corporate media interest half bought by Big Pharma is pumping out garbage on what seems to be a daily basis now. And the bottom line is, if somebody who doesn't have a crappy track record doesn't continue to release results, they're going to get away with it.
True story.
And the fact is, when you ask generally about the term vaccine passports, most people want to seem to be fair-minded. And it's like, we found it like Rasmussen. +2, +3 difference. But when you ask specifically about mandates, it collapses. Because God forbid you inform people on what that actually means. What about a restaurant? You need a passport to go into a restaurant? Oh, that's ridiculous. Of course it is. But the AP doesn't say it is. Put your mark here. What about going back to school? Should we jab our kids to go back to school? What?
Over my dead body.
Not with other polls, but according to the Morning Consult polls. What about an employer mandate? Speaking of which, before I get back to this is the employer mandate, folks. Let's actually, I got one. I uploaded some of this stuff.
But don't you love how they're trying to like sneak on by, like as if
They're so full of
Pfizer
crap.
as if it was Pfizer that was vaccine approved.
Well, don't even go in there. Don't do that. Not right now. Not it's YouTube.
Sorry.
Don't do that. All right. Well, and we will talk more about this. The scoop we gave to locals. We'll talk more about that on YouTube because now it's all right. But don't
I didn't know that was not approved.
No, can't do it. Support for the vaccine mandates by education. You might notice that there is one group and one group alone, graduate and above, who support vaccine mandates. The rest of them absolutely do not. This is one of the few categories we found that were significantly different, statistically significant, way off the mark with the rest of America. The rest are wealthy people. If you're an individual who makes $250,000 or more. All right, so obviously, workers support employer mandates. No, they don't. And in fact, it's not even close. You know who does, though? People who sit on their butts. Let's look at this by employment status. Well, who gives a damn? What about the disabled? You're not working. That's a majority. No offense. You know, I'm not picking on any group of people here, but look at the chart, folks. Employed full-time, 37.6%. Employed part-time, 39.1%. I mean, come on, you kidding me? Employed but looking, 35%. Employed not looking, 37%. I mean, you get the picture here. You get the, you know, retired also is, I'm sorry, excuse me, it's retired people, isn't it, right? Let me look at that color chart again. Retired people are the ones who support employer mandates. Oh, good for you.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. You know, in this whole thing about COVID, funny thing is, what we find, and the same thing, somebody said, hey, you know, I'm really curious about labor. Unions. And now, because of the great locals community, we have decided to pull apart public and private unions. So if you indicate you're a union household, you now indicate whether or not you're a public or a private union household. And you will see that private unions, not so gung-ho for this. You know who is, however? Public unions. Guess what? Both of them got, many of these unions got waivers because they're against collective bargaining agreements. You'd have to go through a whole spiel. So how nice of them to add their support for something they don't have to abide by. Thank you. Namaste. So unions, rich, and postgraduate and above. That's it. The AP is full of crap. Morning Consult is full of crap. What explains the difference between our polling and everybody else's? I don't know. Probably the same thing that explains the difference between our polling and everybody else's after Election Day. This is why it's so important to keep track of people's track records. Not stupid fake pollster scorecards created by idiots who have no idea how to poll, never have in their entire life. Track records matter because the election, the vote, is the only indicator of whether or not a pollster is accurate or not. End of story. Don't cite me Morning Consult with their 11 and 10 point misses across the board in the Midwest. Don't cite Gallup, who quit the horse race after 2012. There's no way to gauge how accurate Gallup is anymore. Give me that nonsense. Or, you know what? Believe him if you want. If you want him to affirm your beliefs, knock yourselves out. I got a Gillum plus 12 for you to buy. All right.
I like the Verrazano Bridge.
I mean, this is, look, Laura and I were talking about this, old New Yorkers. Those are the idiots our grandfathers used to say, we got a piece of the bridge for you to buy. The Verrazano, you're going to own a piece. Then you're also going to pay to use it. Every time you need to go over it, but it's for you. Got a word for that. Sucker! Mic like drop. Nice. So we'll be adding booster status because I know, and we're going to keep the mandate questions. I may even add, there are a few that we have been thinking about. I may even add some to the employer mandate and school mandate and restaurant mandate. I may add some of them, but we will see. All right. So we're adding that. Also, and let me get the, it doesn't matter, presidential approval rating. All right. And then I'll move on to generic ballot before I go on to just flip my grit over Afghanistan. We have the generally speaking, do you approve or disapprove of the job Joe Biden is doing as president? That is the overall approval rating. Let me just stop right there and say, I'm tired of these morons stealing my analysis. I'm going to start calling them out by name, the Harry Entons at CNN and the other turds who work at the website we don't want to name. Okay? You were arguing the complete opposite for 6 months while I consistently, way ahead of everybody else, way ahead of the curve, told our viewers and our readers and our followers that Joe Biden's popularity is artificial, it is created by soft support, and it is based on a fake and incorrect perception that he was doing better to handle the pandemic than Donald Trump. It was created because Donald Trump gave him the tools to create that. But in the end, the vaccination rollout didn't go how it was supposed to go. In the end, the Delta variant didn't behave the way they had hoped it was going to behave. And now that's falling apart too. And I said clear and consistently for 6 months that Biden's approval rating is coming down. It will start to come down now with the COVID issue even before Afghanistan hit. Afghanistan is nothing but the icing on the cake. His approval on foreign policy was garbage like his approval on every other issue. The truth is, Joe Biden never had high marks on any other issue outside of COVID, and he was above in the economy. He was above water one stinking time in our polling this entire time. And this was inevitable because what was creating that perception wasn't real. It was going to fall away, and he doesn't, unlike Barack Obama and Donald Trump, he does not have a base who loves him to save him from collapse. Now all of a sudden everybody agrees with that. You know what? Joe Biden's falling approval rating is more than Afghanistan. No, you don't say. How much do you make at that crummy website to be 6 months late? Jesus. Anyway, then we asked about immigration and border security. We added crime last month. We'll continue with crime, economy and jobs, the coronavirus pandemic, U.S.-China relations, foreign policy, and yes, we will add separate questions which will be outside of the matrix. That's a matrix format, how we ask the issues. First, we give them general approval. Then they get a matrix format for issues, approval on issues. And just like, we're going to take it out of the matrix like general approval is, we're going to separately ask, and there's a caveat here, but we're going to separately ask 2 questions in addition on Afghanistan. And the first one is, do you, when it comes to how the withdrawal was conducted, do you approve or disapprove of the job Joe Biden did, all right, as president, withdrawing the troops, whatever. And then the second one will be, because I really do believe there's an important distinction. It's not that Americans didn't want to get out of Afghanistan. They did want to get out of Afghanistan, and I'd like to measure the margin on that, in fact. And I'd like to also see whether there's some pullback. Or are there some people who think because of how this debacle unfolded, that we should go back? Like, so with like the Bill Kristols and the Jonah Goldbergs and the whatever their names are, what's that other guy? Never mind, he's probably not worth mentioning anyway. But they've used this opportunity in an attempt to get us to go back in force, full-throated, full throttle, whatever you want to say. And I want to know if that's having any impact. I suspect it isn't, but that's my gut feeling, and I would like to know. But I think it's important to distinguish the difference between whether people approve of how he did it versus whether or not they wanted it done. Those issues are being obfuscated right now. And the White House is leading the charge on the obfuscation. Their water carriers and the media are doing everything in their power to try to help them. But the bottom line is, people were not, vehemently opposed to getting out. They were opposed to how he got out. Okay? It's my Essentia water there. Little Essentia. Normally I do this when it's Robert's time to talk. That's the real reason. In TV and on video, you see people switch screens because they want to take like a drink of water or blow their nose. Just kidding. Well, people do that. I'm just saying it's not the total reason why. All right. Okay. What else here? Oh, and the caveat with the Afghanistan questions is this. We are about almost a third of the way. Obviously, it's funding dependent. By the time we fund it, which is hopefully, we can still call it the Labor Day poll, will Afghanistan still be relevant? And I strongly suspect, based on the story we're going to get into here in a second, I strongly suspect that it will be, but it still is dependent on how, if it's a month from now it's funded, can we still call it the Labor Day project? And also, is it Afghanistan still going to be relevant? I don't know, but I will tell you this. We are about a quarter of the way to funding it, or a third of the way of funding it. Very close. 1745. So almost a third, about 29% roughly, right? That's about 29%. Very close. And we have a week, right? When's Labor Day? Next Monday?
September 7th.
Is that next Monday?
I think so.
Let me see. Let's check here.
Let's check.
Guys, locals? That next Monday locals? I'm looking in the locals chat.
September 6th. Do you not believe me?
You like my glass? It's not real glass. It's plastic. But
it's plastic.
I was so thirsty. It's Essentia. I love Essentia. No, I don't get money for saying that. All right. I love. You have to say it.
I know,
you have to
so
say
annoying.
it because people are like, he's selling Essentia.
It's like, no, they did not call.
So is Publix. Idiots. Anyway, but I can't drink it out of this like when I'm really thirsty. It's like trying to get all that water through a bottleneck, and it's like,
then it booms.
But I love these glasses. I love them. I love them from anything from water to tea to the occasional port. Next Monday. It is a week from today.
I said September 6th.
Yep. Everybody, thank you to HalVZ2, TPV _ Tragula. Yes. Next Monday. All right. So, obviously, it's got to be prescient to still ask this, but I imagine it will be for the following reasons. Which one shall we do first? Great graphic by the Financial Times. Okay, but we'll look at that.
What do you think is going to happen? Somebody asked, there should be a question about...
Well, we got to be careful because we're already up to 9-minute interview. So
right,
that last... Hold on, let me just say this before you mention that. Just to tell you guys, last month was already a big one. And I said the interview was really long, if you remember. And I was uncomfortable with how long. It's like a minute over my
Desire.
my cutoff. But I let it go because we had a lot everybody wanted to ask. I'm trying to skim it back, all right? Because I don't want abandonment rates to get too high. If you do, all you'll have is a bunch of high interest liberals who are dying to tell you their opinion, guys. All right? Go ahead.
Well, something to the along of the lines like, what do you think about these places that are going to lose about 20% of healthcare workers that are about to be fired at the end of September?
Yeah, we may need to wait until that happens.
Like, wait.
Yeah.
After September. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've thought about that too. There are loads of other mandate questions that I want to ask, but it is also true that it's based on. Let me see. I'll give you guys a brand new analysis right now. The one that I gave to the locals community, which analyzes how long the survey is, what we can expect for abandonment. Yeah, it's still 9 minutes. The fatigue score, though, is still pretty low, Laura. I mean, it's 32% now. That's up from 25 when I did but accessibility and takeability is, it's generally still good. Wording is good. But again, we're back up to 9 minutes. We are. Maybe there's something else I could do. But that is an estimate, and I will say this, which is why I kind of green-lighted it last month. That's an estimate based on an interview that every single logic rule kicks in. So they say, yes, I voted in 2020, so they get funneled off to vote history for that election. They say they've been vaccinated, for instance, so now they're going to get a booster question. We have 4 or 5 different logic, actually more than that now. They say they're in a union, so they get funneled over now into logic. It's a logic rule for unions we talked about. Are you a public union? Are you a private union? And we even gave an option for both. So et cetera, et cetera. So it's 9 minutes if every single logic rule is met and people take every single thing, including nationality. So, and the reason why that is because only Black, African American, Native American, Alaska Native or whatever, and Pacific Islander, something else, some other, whatever it is, they are the only ones who don't have a detail. Asian, they do. White, they do. So does Hispanic and Latino, right? All right. So, are you employed full-time? Yes. Are you a small business owner or not? Okay. By the way, one of the most despicable things I found about that AP poll when I compared it to ours is that, folks, a small business owner was far more likely to say that they supported the mandates than a worker. So I found that particular lie by the AP poll to be egregious. And maybe it's not a lie. Maybe they just stink, which of course they do. Biden plus 14.
It's a double.
Hillary Clinton plus 12. Final poll. Last week in October, final numbers. And none more so. And all of this, we're talking about these mandates. I'll come back to this in a little bit, but let's just tell everybody who's watching on YouTube what our locals community already knows and knew when we dropped this in a scoop. Pfizer has an antiviral that is currently being under trial in multiple countries, which will be over the counter if they get their way. Yes, I said that. OTC. Over the counter.
What?
And the target for emergency use authorization, right? What?
Like, it's just crazy.
The target for EUA is October. So here we go. Let's phrase it for the show. What are the odds that mandates have to do with public health? 0. The answer is 0. By the way, did you guys see the New England Journal of Medicine? That's a local show. All right. I want to pull up this tweet. This is one of these tweets where, unfortunately, the real world consequences of what most of us to be found to be common sense plays out. Also, it really, a story, and it isn't, I don't know if tragic's the word, because this was made possible by government action, by leaders, their decisions, their bad decisions. And yes, Biden is mostly to blame for this, but when I show it to you, remember Joni Ernst. And remember when I went on the show and I said, did Joni Ernst beg Trump voters? And did Trump voters give him an overwhelming margin in a state Barack Obama twice carried easily? Did these voters vote for Joni Ernst to be reelected because they wanted the state of Iowa to be showered with Afghanis? Joni Ernst had nothing to say. She had no voice for the veteran there in Afghanistan putting their skill to use because that's all they could do. For professionals, for their wives and families. She couldn't bring herself to be a voice for them. Afghan refugees. She wants to virtue signal. She wants to look like a good person. Iowans are willing to take and able to take these brave Afghanis, allies who helped us. But she had nothing to say about U.S. citizens trapped there as well.
7 busloads.
I'm getting there.
Get it.
Here it is. This is from Emily Miller on Twitter. Quote, "We're dealing with Kabul. There's 7 buses of female American citizens. The CG refused to open the gate, command guard. We have a congressman with us, and he had the State Department reach out. MG Donahue refused. 10 minutes ago, the females were taken by the Taliban. They are likely dead now." Okay, this was earlier this morning. I mean, well, really, it was late last night, but, you know. The bottom line is, this is their fault. 7 busloads of American women. Forgive me if I care more about them. And I would say the vast majority of America will agree with me. And I know that to be true because there are people, you know what, people I trust actually have asked this question. Afghanistan, refugee situation, Rasmussen asked a series of questions about this. In fact, let's find that. In the messages they had sent to me.
But isn't it amazing? We're the women activists. We're the women...
Where are the women...
Where are they?
Amen. Where are the women's rights groups in this country? Where are they? Where the hell are they? Okay, let's see. And this was the worst part about it. I mean, Rasmussen has a lot on this. They've been asking basically every 2-3 days, changing out their questions. All right. Now that the Taliban have taken over Afghanistan, this was from August 18th to August 19th. Now that the Taliban have taken over Afghanistan, how important is it the U.S. government help American citizens get out of Afghanistan? 86% very important, 10% somewhat important, 2% not very important, 0 said none at all, and 2% said not sure. How important is it that the United States government help Afghanistan refugees? 50, that's it, said very important. Mm-hmm. And then how many refugees should the United States take? The vast majority said basically said below 50,000 because 30% said less than 10,000 and 22% said between 10 and 50. Joni Ernst, while these Americans needed help getting out, while these women
Women.
needed help getting out. Do you know what's going to happen to these women in the captivity of the
God.
Taliban? Don't. We can leave it up to your imagination. That's why it was so tragic when ISIS kidnapped, and God forgive me for getting her name right now. It's out of anger, frankly. The parents, what they had to endure.
Well, you're talking about the blonde?
No, the she was basically a humanitarian worker. And covered on People's Pundit Daily. I remember editing it. The parents were really big Trump supporters because, one specifically, because of what happened with their daughter. But we found out later, of course, she was sexually assaulted. All right. We're already putting, so are you, Joni Ernst. So are you! We're already putting our female domestic population at risk. This is going to get me in trouble, but I don't give a damn. It's 100% true. We're already putting our female domestic population at risk by bringing these refugees here in the first place.
It's statistically
We
true.
know it's true because of Austria, Germany, down the line. Those who have taken large numbers of Afghan refugees have absolutely experienced an uptick in sexual assault. I'm sure Laura Logan would tell you all about the respect they have for a woman's right to say no. And is this a general statement? You're damn right it is. But this isn't something that's a minor problem with culture. When Barack Obama used to say, 99% agree with our values, share our... No, they do not. In fact, Afghanistan, according to Pew Research, is overwhelmingly filled with Muslims who believe that Sharia law should be the law of the land, no matter where they go. Turkey is moderate compared to Afghanistan. There actually absolutely will be, and we have already created future rape victims doing this. When I told you there are allies who helped us, there are. But they're nowhere near the numbers that you were hearing about on TV or what the Biden administration put first in front of these women. But what else could you expect? Because to make ourselves look good, to make ourselves look like good people, we're putting our wives, our daughters, our mothers, we're putting our women at risk.
And they don't even value us as people. Our personhood
No,
does not
you're a
have,
second. You don't
we
have
are
personhood. You don't have personhood.
infidel.
You don't have. Oh, you mean in that sense?
Just in that
but it's
sense
no,
alone.
Laura.
And then
It's
as a woman,
but
you
even
have no rights with
even
them.
those who are not like extremists when it comes to Islam, and I mean that in the extremist of extreme terms, because I think you're all going to find their brand of Islam to be pretty extreme to begin with. That's number one. Whether I'm not talking about Al Qaeda, Taliban, ISIS. I'm talking about what they would call mainstream Islam. It is not mainstream. It is in their country because that's how the vast majority of them, that's what they believe. But forget about it. Infidels and this, you're a woman. If you have the wrong genitalia, you have no personhood.
Trouble.
I pray to God these women are returned unharmed. But you never know. For all we know, a couple hours from now, we can find out that Joe Biden hit them with a drone strike. And he'll lie and he'll say that he killed a bunch of unnamed ISIS-K leaders.
I'd rather be struck with a drone
Folks,
strike than be kidnapped by the...
I would rather be hit with a drone too. If I was, I would rather be hit with a drone too. I'm sorry, absolutely. If I'm, well, no, not as a man, because as a man, I'm gonna do what a man.
Yeah, no,
I'm
but
gonna
I'm
do
saying
what
as a
I'm
woman
gonna
in
do.
a position where I'm trapped in a jail
Live or
cell,
die, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
drop the bomb.
But as a woman, just drop the damn bomb.
Call it a day.
And again, I don't know what else we could expect. Can we expect any better? Because we've been making these stupid decisions that put American citizens at risk anyway. So could we really being realistically, could we really expect anything better when it came to the very simple, common sense principle that you should have evacuated American citizens first? We have gotten many reports from private entities, NGOs, but also private groups, who for over about a week have been putting together extraction operations, and guess who got in their way? The United States government. Not the Taliban. Not the Taliban. The United States government was their red tape, was their obstacle. The government couldn't even do their own damn job. So when citizens, veterans, attempted to do it for them, they blocked them. They didn't block all of their efforts, but they blocked them. We have heard, I don't even know, I wish I counted them, how many planes that could have taken 100 people, 200 people, left with 5, left with 7. Because of the government. Not because of ISIS-K. And if you believe that story, shame on you. Anytime the U.S. government tells you that they killed a high-value target and they don't name them, rest assured that they are 100% full of
Crap.
garbage. Did that for you.
Thank you, my love.
We had a talk before we went on air today. They are full of it. In case you haven't been paying attention for 20 years, they have vaporized civilians, journalists, across the board, lied about it. In fact, Julian Assange's first sin, the first cardinal sin that Julian Assange committed, which absolutely put him public enemy number 1 in the U.S., was leaking the material he got from Private Manning. The Afghan war diaries were an embarrassment, particularly when it came to the Reuters journalist. People on the ground in the world were saying, you killed my family, you hit healthcare workers, you killed the journalist. And they said, oh no, absolutely not. That was a group of terrorists. If you don't get specifics from the Pentagon is lying to you. And even when you do get specifics. And by the way, I wanted to brush up on those diaries this morning, and I saw something I had never seen before, Laura. That, in fact, right there in black and white.
Good.
The fact that, look, what you think the sexual assault against women is going to be a problem?
Oh.
Wait until you find out that many of our allied commanders,
Foreign, not out.
I'm talking about Afghan security forces,
Yes.
people we put in charge and were supposed to be leaders of men, wait until you find out about their appetite for boys. Little boys. I don't give a damn if they got appetite for 30-year-old men or consenting adults. And in fact, it's right in the Afghan war diaries, Laura. Worse, because I've told my wife some stuff before. I was talking to a neighbor before.
Yeah.
Worse than them turning a blind eye.
Oh, don't get me started.
They procured them for them in several cases. So no wonder why the Hillary Clintons and the Barack Obamas and the Pentagon in general flipped out. I had just, been more concerned with some other topics on that, so I never really got into them. But I started to really dig into some of it. And I saw it this morning. I was like floored. For those who don't know, if you're a veteran, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Never gets any conversation. I don't know where it comes from. Look, there's deviance in all societies.
Yes.
But the United Nations, NATO, the United States government, they absolutely turned a blind eye and told soldiers it was a cultural difference. that we just needed to accept. Oh boy, it's going to be fun. And left behind. Great hat tip, Financial Times. I know this is going to be kind of hard for some of you guys to see, but let's take a look at the new military the Taliban has. Hat tip, the Times and the Sunday Times. Excuse me. Taliban's new arsenal. You thought it was bad? Boy! 22,174 Humvees. 8,000 trucks, which we used to call deuce and a halves. 634 M117s. That's a striker vehicle. You have got to be kidding me. 162,043 radios, by the way. Completely new. In the beginning of this conflict, the radios were for like the Korean War. They were horrible.
Yeah,
all right?
true. And
And that's amongst the communication equipment is one of the things that they really overhauled significantly. 155 mine-proof vehicles. 6,035 night vision goggles. 169 M1113 armored personnel carriers, otherwise known as the APC. 358,530 assault rifles. By the way, Joe Biden wants to take your assault rifles away. Cory Booker wants to take away your assault rifles, but he has no problem. They have no problem giving almost 400,000 of them to the Taliban. So the next time somebody tells you that you're a bad person because you have an AR-15, tell them
that you got it from the Taliban, and then it'll be all right.
Sorry, it was part of the exchange. I got it from the exchange program with the Taliban. Kiss my.
That you left.
42,000 pickup trucks. Ford and other American-made. These are good trucks. It doesn't say that, but I'm telling you what they are because I know. They are Ford and Chevy trucks. These are solid trucks. From pickups like F-150s to big duals like 350 diesels.
Somebody said they were flying around one of our Black Hawks with a traitor hanging underneath in Kandahar. Kandahar.
You're talking about Kandahar.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, 33 Blackhawks. The UH-60, that's a Blackhawk. 33. Hueys, 33. Yep. Son of a... Oh, that's a little bird. The MD-530s, that's a little bird. Oh, man, they're fun. You can hump off the side of a little bird. They fly real low. Joe, you know what I'm talking about. Right, Joe Kent? You know what I'm talking about. That is one of the most fun things in the world. They're like 10 feet off the ground. I don't know. It's really sure. You jump right off. Oh,
That's
good
great.
times.
You know
But that's
my-
back when the military was effective and I was proud to be a part of it. Now I'm ashamed of what it's become.
Back when the U.S. owned it instead of giving
Absolutely
it to
ashamed.
Afghanistan.
126,295 pistols. Berettas. You know, they're Berettas. What else they got, Laura? Oh, probably. I wonder how many of my Glaring Conchas they got. I love that pistol. Love that thing. But for the most part, Beretta is going to be a big one because Air Force pilots carry Berettas. Even Army people, a lot of people in the Army, the officer's pistol is a Beretta. I bet you they got a bunch of Taurus 1911s.
Oh, nice.
They got it's a nice workhorse right there. That's a good. That's great to take an American's forehead and put it out the back of his head. What else? Let's see.
It's going to be amazing.
170. What was that?
It's going to be amazing as we get killed by them.
I know. It's great. It's
good
fantastic.
times.
176 artillery pieces.
Nice. Excellent.
Jackasses. 64,363 machine guns. Now, what do they mean by that?
Those
Because
are real.
that's a very general term. But what they mean by that is
Like
the M240 Bravo. Exactly, Laura. Very good. The M240 Bravo, for instance. That's fantastic. The only weapon in the arsenal that fires a 7.6, you know? Which is what the Kalashnikov files.
Lines of people. Like, you have to tell people what shooting that gun does.
I have a funny story.
Oh, no.
I remember when I was OSIT? Yeah, it was OSIT. And we were learning, but we had a different kind of OSIT because we were 18 X-rays. And they were really combining a lot of stuff. And gun teams, right? Teaching us how gun teams are, because on an ODA, there'll be different weapons depending on the mission. And they were teaching us how to be gun teams, just like an infantry soldier would learn how to be gun teams with 240 Bravo. Barrel gets hot, ladies and gentlemen. That barrel gets hot. Not as bad as the old M80, or M60, excuse me. The M240 Bravo replaced the M60. Like, remember Rambo, guys? The OG Rambo, the 1980s?
And by the way, it's the SIGs, not Berettas.
No, they got SIGs too, but the Berettas...
I thought the Beretta was the police officer.
And the pilots have Berettas.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. And even people in the Army. My first lieutenant, I had a Heckler and Koch.
Yeah, I know you
I had
did.
an HK, baby.
Yeah.
I love that damn thing.
That thing was a cannon.
With a silencer. It's called a suppressor, you idiot. You watch too many movies. It doesn't even suppress the noise that much. It's for the flash so they can't see where you're coming from. Jackasses. Anyway, there are silencing, capabilities.
Yeah.
But it's not for what the movies make it for. It's really so when you shoot somebody in the dead of the night, they don't know where your flash came from. The muzzle flash came from. All right, 64,363 M240 Bravos and the like. Laura knows this weapon. It's one of my personal favorites. And, man, I used to make those puppies talk. All right? And I had a lieutenant colonel. He was an old school guy. And he gave me a brigade coin over it. Because when he came to see, and all the, your superiors were like, make this good. We want to impress this guy. They want more money. And, they want more money. And they want to be able to show that they're doing a good job. The first 18 X-ray pipeline was a complete and total bomb. I was the second cycle. And he wanted success out of that cycle. So it was a big deal to make sure that we were moving as a squad together. We looked capable. All right. So when he came, he was a short little man too, Laura. Short little guy. Shorter than me. And I'm not a big guy. I'm a short guy. But he was shorter than me. And he was from Korea. And the Vietnam era. And he had M60s. He was a gunner. That. And he said that the way I made those puppies talk, it brought him back to being in Korea, which he remembered fondly. Most people would remember Korea and Vietnam and be like, not this guy. He was like, a tear was coming to his eye because the sounds of this, because the sounds of the 60s and the stoners were like the happiest times of his life. All right. So anyway, he threw me a brigade coin over it because it was fun. 4 C-130 transports. That's just great. 23, no. Super Tucanos. You have got to be kidding me. The Embraer EMB. 23 of them. 28 Cessna 208s. That's nice. That's better than the 172 we test flew in. 10 Cessna AC 208s. Strike aircraft. They're going to have fun with those things.
No wonder why.
They're just going to have a blast with those things.
Just think about it. You remember when we sent in troops to help get those people and they were annihilated? Remember? Sent packing? Well, no wonder. Look what they have.
Unbelievable. Unreal. By the way, you might notice that map in the bottom right corner. The main Afghan army garrisons and weapon dumps were at, right? Mazar Sharif, Herat, Kabul, Kunduz, Kandahar. So basically, they took more than 2/3 of that territory you're looking at before they even entered Kabul. Kabul. Right. They took 2/3 of that territory. So they already had a ton of it. They're probably having a field day. CNN probably didn't want to show you those pictures when they got to the capital. Oh, my God. By the way, you guys have a small regional airport by you? We have one. We've always had one, whether it was Florida in Gainesville, here. Do you guys have any of you guys know what I'm talking about? Small regional airport. Maybe you have, what's the name of that? American Eagle or something. Flies out of it, for instance. If you do, then you know what I'm talking about when I say that Kabul is like a regional airport. It's only third world. So the idea that you would leave this airport as a single departure point is incredibly dumb. And if I was the president of the United States, and I believe if Donald Trump was the president of the United States, anyone, if General Milley said, we don't need Bagram, I'd fire them immediately.
Yeah.
Because
You're a moron.
you don't
Keep
have
walking.
to be a military expert to look at the history of it and then simply have a basic concept of military strategy, basic concept of logistics, how important geography is. And anyone, even someone who, you don't have to freaking go to West Point, folks, to know that that is stupid.
Does this list prove that money China paid the Bidens was well spent? Could pay dividends for years.
This is what a great point you made. Because this stupidity on cable and network news I keep hearing. But they don't really know how to operate this stuff. Bull! First of all, they fire stingers better than we do. And they'll fire the new ones even better the next time we try to fly something over their heads. You know why? Because we actually taught them. The United States government doesn't teach their own troops generally surface to air unless it's on a need-to-know basis. Like, are you in a team that is currently being assigned with shooting down aircraft? If so, then you will get a field training on a Stinger. And if they don't know how to use it, I'm sure Beijing, Biden's friends in Beijing, will have no problem sending somebody over there to show them how to use this technology. Why? The price is what? Oh, I don't know. The reverse engineering of a drone we left behind, maybe? I mean, you people are stupid. You are really thick. Incredible how dumb some of the people who are put forward as experts. Incredible the level of stupidity.
The encrypted radio comms that they have now.
Oh, I mean, the list goes on. It's almost like, that's why I wanted to show that graph. Mm-hmm. That's stuff that we know. People can generally, everyone knows what a deuce and a half is, from the military, certain kinds of weapons. We didn't even get into tech. Guided missile systems, no doubt there are going to be things left behind from that. Communication systems. It's unreal. I'm sure Iran would have no problem. They don't get along, don't worry. I've seen them cooperate before. Mm-hmm. Iran and the Taliban used to cooperate before we invaded Afghanistan on stopping and executing those trafficking drugs in the pass that is their border. They will cooperate again if it means doing something that gives them yet one more leg, one more rung on the ladder of relative power against the United States. Of course they will. It's just unbelievable stupidity.
Oh, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
That's the sound of us being bloodlet over 20 years. John Mearsheimer, bait 'em, bleed 'em. That's just what... Can you hear it? Oh, slow drip of American wealth, blood and treasure. Mm-hmm. Slow drip. 20 years later, are we stronger than we were before 9/11? Nope. Are we wealthier than we were before 9/11? Nope. Do we have as much hegemonic hold over the rest of the world as we did? Nope. Do we have as much influence? Nope. Are our allies stronger? Nope.
Is Biden richer?
Yup.
Mm-hmm. Is Hunter richer?
Yup. Is George W. Bush richer? Yup. Is Barack Obama richer? Yup. Is Donald Trump? Nope.
Nope.
Enough said. Let's talk in simplicities here, guys. Sometimes I think they let you they trick you. They want you to get involved in the minutia so you don't see the big, like, bold, like, shining lights. Stop, stupid. Stop, stupid. Stop, stupid.
Maybe Biden could actually read that if it's flashing.
No, man.
No, I know.
You don't want to hit him with flashing lights.
It'll see stroke
He may
out.
go down again.
Again.
Yup, I said again. Damn right I did.
Mm-hmm.
Infer what you will. I don't know why nobody's saying anything. I don't know why nobody's saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, if you guys think you saw him falling asleep, you're wrong. Don't let your lying, don't be fooled by your lying eyes. All right? You took it out of context. And, Mike Lindell did not come behind him and slip a pillow under his head.
Yeah, that was funny.
Let's see. What else here, Laura, because I did say we were so short.
I mean,
but,
the fact checkers, this is what ticks me off.
These people are jokes, Laura.
tell you your eyes are deceiving you. That even the...
He didn't fall into a dead-ass coma, but he nods off all the time. He nods off all the time.
To the point where when the guy was speaking, he turned around and looked at the camera and said a joke.
The AP, did you guys report on what Joe Biden was doing when he was in Wilmington, Delaware? You're so interested in fact-checking. Did Reuters? You notice you didn't get any status updates on the president when he was in Wilmington, Delaware, folks? I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah.
You didn't notice that? Huh. That's weird. Wonder if they would have let Trump do that in Bedminster. I don't remember that. If he had 2 scoops of ice cream instead of 1 in Bedminster, you heard about it. Mm-hmm. It's a little strange, don't you think? Maybe we'll share that with locals. Anyway, if this was a Republican administration, I'd be just as mad. Be beating them up just as much. That's the difference between me and so many other people. Yeah, probably worse.
No, you
because
worse,
they would have gotten elected saying they were going to do something different. The bottom line is, though, you try to stay consistent as possible, and to be consistent, you also have to point out that it's not just the president's fault. Some of these things have happened. Had Joni Ernst and company been more concerned with their own citizens, I just pray those women are returned unharmed. Maybe they're just looking for ransom or something, Laura. Maybe they're just looking for ransom. Maybe it wasn't the Taliban and it was the Haqqani network. If it was look, guys, the Haqqani network, they'll conduct violence, but generally when they take somebody, it's for a ransom and they don't really hurt them. That was the Haqqani network's job years ago. I don't know what it does now, but years ago, they just kidnapped. Maybe it wasn't them, maybe it was Haqqani. If it's ISIS, then the worst is the worst. And by the way, ISIS-K. The K stands for Khorasan Group. They've been around a long time. The difference is, right, the real difference between them and the Taliban is not that much. The bottom line is, I'll tell you right now, the Taliban let those vests through. And this was the price of Joe Biden's foolishness. There is no chance those bombs would have gotten around that many people, to include Afghan civilians, if Donald Trump's withdrawal plan was executed. No chance. Because Donald Trump's plan did not rely on the Taliban to search people, to secure perimeters. Anyone who's ever been or knows anything about how the U.S. handles green zones, there is no chance you get close to a checkpoint, hands up, turn around, shirt up. They don't get close.
Nope.
The stupid general the other day, moron. Well, this is inherently a dangerous job. There's just no way to do it without putting their lives at risk. It is a dangerous job, but there are ways to do it without putting lives at risk. It's called the orderly way. They don't even get to the perimeter until they're half naked. I'm serious.
I know, but it's...
You have a car?
Get out more.
Mirrors, dogs, the whole 9 yards. The Taliban let those people through. Period. Or somebody procured the materials, put it on themselves when they got close. But then guess what? They had to get beyond the checkpoint with them and stash them somewhere for somebody else who later came to put them on and blow themselves up. There is no other alternative. That's it. This was not a mistake. The Taliban was not... Look, they're constantly fighting with each other. One wing, the moderate wing is about as moderate as this. Just let them go home and get the hell out of here so we can have our country back. That's it. They still believe everything else. The more radical wing, which is out of control, they act like Taliban leadership has control over all of the Taliban or something. That's another lie. Like it's an orderly fighting force or something. They're constantly at each other's throats. The leadership is constantly being challenged as not credible. Not ordained by Allah. Not backed by Allah. Not enough successes. Allah doesn't favor you. And there are more extreme people that just, they believe the same thing the moderates believe. The difference is they probably like to execute every single one of us on the way out.
Sure do.
Or shoot as many as they can, let some leave. While the moderates are saying, don't piss them off, just let them go. Because if we kill a bunch of their people, then the president is going to have no choice but to bomb to retaliate. Just let them go and get out of here. Because I told you guys this before, that's why I'm a realist. That's why those heads typically prevail. Because there's no truth to the Lindsey Graham like madman theory. People act, or at least nation state actors, they act in rational ways. Even Hitler was a rational nation-state actor. Look at Germany on a map. Look to your left, look to your right. He was surrounded by enemies. So he took the aggressive posture, which is textbook realism, and he decided, I'm going to expand those borders a little bit. In fact, no different than what the Israelis did after they realized they were encircled and would not be left in peace by their enemies that surrounded them. And that's what not only settlements are, modern day settlements, but after the war with Egypt, particularly, they did not give back that area in the Sinai. Because they're like, you know what, I think I just want to stretch my arms a little bit. Yeah. I think I need to make sure I see you coming first before you start bombing residential neighborhoods. Right.
Or digging tunnels and snatching them
that's
out
why,
from the ground.
And that's why, really, it is in the interest of at least most of these, nation-state actors to act rationally. But there is the occasion when there's no doubt. They're like, you know what, just screw those Americans. Let that bomb in. Let that bomb in. Give them a reason to hurry the hell up. And by the way, I'm not sure it's not rational to let the occasional go bomb off if you're in their position. It is, in fact. Because look, what happened the next day? Everybody bailed. The UK, New Zealand, Germany, France, and later us. Another one of the biggest bombshells by the Washington Post, of all places. The Taliban, you know why they did this? Because they didn't want to be put in this position with potential consequences. They offered the Biden administration to stay out of Kabul. They offered to stay out of Kabul to the Biden administration. And that
we protect it.
The U.S. would remain in control of the capital until we are, ready to say sayonara and we're all, all feet in the sky. And they said no. If you're the Taliban, you want us to say yes, because anything that happens at that point is on you. It was probably in the minds of the more moderate, which I hate using that word, but you guys know what I mean. The rational, let's use the word rational. In the minds of the more rational actors, that is a nightmare scenario to have the U.S. delegate their security to you, abdicate Delegate is not even the right word. Delegate infers leadership. Abdicate is better. And that's a nightmare position if you were the Taliban to be put in. All you want is them gone. It's just outrageous. I mean, it's just outrageous. He did everything wrong. Now we have people who are dead. Busloads of female American citizens gone. Busloads of female American citizens. Laura, if they were taken by who I think took them, and they say they're taken by the Taliban, they're probably dead. Does anyone have any more information about this? Have you heard any more? Are they in fact dead by now? I certainly hope not. I really hope not. Let's go ahead and play this. I got another clip I want to play. You probably guys have seen it, but why not play it again? Why not? Let's play it again. Keep playing it. Over and over and over again. So these little worms can't squirm away from it.
Kathy, Colorado, you're on the Will Count Majority. Hello.
Hey, my son was one of the Marines that died yesterday. And to listen to that. Sorry, I'm on the radio.
No.
No worries, Kathy. No worries.
Go ahead.
My son was one of the Marines that died yesterday. 20 years and 6 months old.
Christ.
Getting ready to come home from frickin' Jordan to be with his wife to watch the birth of his son. And that feckless, dementia-ridden piece of crap just sent my son to die. I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning to Marines at my door telling me my son was dead. So, to have her on right before me and listen to that piece of crap talk about diplomatic crap with freaking Taliban terrorists who just freaking blew up my son and know nothing, to not say anything about, oh my God, I'm so sorry for the families. So my son is gone, and I just want all you Democrats who cheated in the election or who voted for him legitimately, you just killed my son. With a dementia-ridden piece of crap who doesn't even know he's in the White House. He still thinks he's a senator. So, I'm going to try and calm down. I'm sorry.
No worries, Kathy. No worries. And in fact, no, he didn't offer much condolences at all. What did he do? What did he do? He brought up Beau Biden, who barely served in any kind of conflict area, Kosovo. Give me a break. Give me a break. We're going to compare Kosovo to Afghanistan? I don't denigrate anybody's service, but how dare you? And he died from cancer, for crying out loud. He did not die in the line of duty. And he certainly did not die as a result of somebody's bad decision. Yours. It's incredible. I don't know. It's not mine. It's yours. Oh, right there. Inappropriate. Wholly inappropriate. And you know why he did it, too. Not because he feels some kind of connection or kinship with these people. He did it in a sick, pathetic, disgraceful ploy for sympathy. Sympathy, and to try to make himself appear that he can empathize with their situation. Oh, give me a break. Makes me sick. That is not the job of a president of the United States. There's an old saying, actually. One of the biggest roles a president can have is not the commander-in-chief. It's the consoler-in-chief. And he didn't offer those families any consolation. He offered excuses, buck passing, and sympathy ploys. I will always continue to measure public opinion the best job that I can do, as accurately as possible, that it reflects the views of the American people, not my own, unlike them. But I will tell you this. This is not worthy of the President of the United States. I don't ever want to hear about Trump's mean tweets, goofy jokes, mocking, vulgar behavior. I never want to hear about it again.
Nothing compares to
Nothing.
Nothing.
Did Donald Trump lie to the American people about weapons of mass destruction and lead to the death of more than 5,000 American soldiers, the maiming and psychological injuring of thousands and thousands, countless more, hundreds of thousands of Iraqi civilian casualties? Did Donald Trump lie about the Gulf of Tonkin to get us in a war in Vietnam that led to 50,000 dead American boys? Did Donald Trump lie about vaporizing journalists? Did Donald Trump put people on kill lists and kill them without due process with drones? And did Donald Trump preside over a single military disaster like this? No. He cleaned up Joe Biden's mistake. He did!
Yeah.
Why is there ISIS-K? I thought Trump defeated them. There's a very small contingency of ISIS-K, like there is any other group. Again, this is a fraction, a splinter of the Khorasan group. The army ISIS that we know as the Caliphate is gone. Not for long.
Oh, no.
Not for long.
They're going to be building up troops by the million.
Taliban's going to need money. What do you think they're going to do to get money? By the way, you think they have any incentive to stop the poison from being shipped over here anymore? No. Stupid bugs.
And when
Stupid
you say
bugs, the lot of
poison,
them.
you mean opium.
I'm talking about
Heroin.
exporting opium. You think the Iranians are going to partner with the Taliban anymore to make sure, by the way, apparently everyone knows that path.
Oh, yeah?
There's a smuggling route that is borders Afghanistan and Iran. And so far, all the veterans I've been speaking to, everyone knows it. So, it's not just a region. It's a very specific place. And so apparently, it's...
Well, I think that's...
It's back in business now.
Well, that's Joe's main source of income. Come on now.
If you're Iran, do you have any incentive to stop that now? Not as long as it goes from your country and out. It's not going to... Believe me, I doubt the people in Iran are going to be sticking their arms with that stuff.
Yeah.
I doubt it. No, let it go. Kill those stupid Americans.
And they get rich.
The Chinese, you think they're going to... Please. They can't wait. I'm just so sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and I said it on Friday, but I'm going to repeat it because I'm talking to a lot of people who feel this way. It's like they're trying to do the lieutenant colonel from the Marine Corps who spoke up against them. Or trying to do them like Stalin used to do them. If you had any military rank speak out against you, you labeled them psychologically unfit, and you said they were crazy. And in fact, we've seen this happen before. I'm not going to bring it up because I'm not going to get into a partisan spat, but Democrats once took a defense secretary who had significant objections to the military-industrial complex and painted him as a nutcase. And there's a whole bunch. I'm not going to dive down into the rabbit hole, but there's a whole lot of crazy theories about what happened to him. But, it's not beneath them, is my point. And they're doing that to this. He's not a kid. He's a grown-ass man. They're doing that to this guy. And 17 years, he's resigned. He doesn't want a penny from them, apparently. And they're saying he's mentally unstable. I mean, maybe there are things we need to know. But I will say this, okay? I do want to say this. Struggling mentally with the sacrifice that you made during a time like this does not make you mentally unstable. Having a serious time processing the amount of failure that you're seeing right now, when you have friends who have died and you can remember their faces the moment they died before the lights went out. You can remember what it was like when you told his wife or his fiance or his mom, that you served with them, whatever it may be. All of the sacrifices you made to your own life. Maybe your wife left you because she couldn't stand the long deployments anymore. You didn't get, maybe not. You have a wonderful family and you much would have rather stayed with them all of those Christmases. Watch your children grow up. You missed the terrible twos. You missed the first day of kindergarten. You missed the first day of preschool. You missed a graduation.
You missed a birth.
You missed the birth of a child. You gave up so much to do your damn job all for this. I know a lot of people who are really struggling with this right now. And I will say that does not make you unstable or there's something wrong with you psychologically if you're having a very hard time. And I will say this in addition to that. As long as you did the job that you were ordered to do and you did it well, then you have nothing to be ashamed about, or you have nothing to feel like it was a waste of so-and-so's life. It was a waste of our time. It was a waste of this sacrifice, that sacrifice. Look, the rest is on them. All you can do as a soldier or a Marine or an airman, whatever, all you can do in the end as someone who takes orders is carry out the job that you were ordered to do. Mm-hmm. The rest is on these slimy, two-faced, indecisive, cowardly politicians. And you cannot answer for that. And you can't hold yourself to that standard. None of us can. What they do is really out of our hands. You were given, some mission, something went wrong, you lost a friend. Did you carry out that mission the best you could? Well, then that's it. You have nothing to be ashamed of. That's the right. Let them sit. The shame is theirs. Mm-hmm. That's my point. The shame is their shame.
The blood is on their hands.
The blood is on their hands. 7 buses of women, that's on them. Maybe Jill can take a cue from Michelle and put a little marker board up that says #BringOurGirlsHome or something.
Or where are they? How about that for $5?
We're back to this now.
And
we're back to being reduced to stupid slogans and at the mercy of absolute monsters. That's what we are.
One time though that they did that, Rich.
And that was Boko Haram. That was Boko Haram.
I know, but you never heard of those girls again.
The very first, very first videos, and we never got strikes or anything, but we got a message from Boko Haram that was related to that. We put it up, and I don't know why nobody had this intercepted, radio message, but we did. We put it up, and with translation, and YouTube took that down. We knew that wasn't going to end well. And then also cell phone footage of the Islamic State when it was brand new, destroying ancient artifacts literally artifacts that belong to the early civilization. And they had a problem with that too. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed said that no matter what dark hole we put him in, no matter how many times we stick a rag over his mouth, or he breaks down and cries like a baby, that in the end this is all for nothing, and that they're going to win. Why? Because they have resolve, and they believe in something. And we have, in his words, leftists who hate what you stand for, what you believe in. So we don't have that.
Because we're not.
They're not afraid of who they are.
Yeah.
They don't hate themselves, right?
They're
They're united in what
in
they
their
believe,
belief.
and that makes for a stronger resolve.
And a stronger race.
And he used to mock how there are people in this society who it's almost like they don't have to do it because your own will do it for them, and they'll give them the tools to do it.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? Like these refugee laws. Let me explain to you something. Last couple things here. There is no way to vet these people. There is no way to vet them. I have seen interpreters who worked good faith months and months and months, one day out of nowhere, turn around and shoot their U.S. ally. That has happened. But I've seen instances of that, I meant. There are stories galore. There's no way to vet them. And if, by some chance, we later find something, it's too damn late once Joni Ernst let the put the plane down in Iowa. Because of those laws Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was referring to. There's no way to get rid of them at that point. No way. Maybe we'll wait for them to rape a woman or blow up a building. Then we can do something about it. But even in that case, rest assured that we will have some jackass lawyer or judge argue we shouldn't prosecute them that harshly. It's not their fault. Right?
Right?
Kids will be back soon.
Speaking of which,
I think I heard. That's my pumpkin, my pumpkin umpkin.
the pumpkin.
That is my pumpkin umpkin. That's what I call him. It's my pumpkin umpkin.
Quick
question, shoot me.
A question.
I mean, shoot it at me.
Well,
Somebody.
I mean, if I was the Taliban, I would be armed and ready.
Yeah, you'd be able to shoot me with my own 240.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it'll bring back memories.
Boy, that'd be ironic. That's death and irony at its finest right there. Oh
and
my
tragedy
God.
all rolled into one.
Oh, it's like something out of a Shakespearean Greek
novel.
tragedy.
Uh-huh.
That gave me the chilly willies.
Sorry, baby. Monkey Elvis wants to know. A question I haven't seen anywhere asked. Did they leave the Link 16 equipment in the Blackhawks? If so, China's going to have fun.
Absolutely. Look, if you know that term, then I assume that they should have been destroyed in the first place.
Yes.
Willie
Protocol
Pete's,
was not taken.
airstrikes, Willie Pete's, whatever. This was not done the way that, folks, if you're on a SEAL team or an ODA or whatever it may be, and you have a Black Hawk that is that goes down, and by the way, the stealth helicopters, there were several of them based in Afghanistan. I wonder if they got that stealth technology, folks. The very technology we used in the raid on Osama bin Laden, by the way. All right, but yeah, I mean, you're expected, with a team of like 6 to 12 men, you're expected to fight it out, man. To hold the line until your engineer can put a Willie Pete in that Black Hawk.
Amen.
And make sure that you have fried what you need to fry. I mean,
Now everybody has their
it's incredible.
technology.
It's just incredible. It's just how bad this was is almost unimaginable.
You can't even explain
You can't,
put it into
folks.
words.
You can't imagine how badly this was done.
This
and
is going to affect us
for a long time.
eons.
Long time. Very long time.
Rich, can you give us more info about the phone call you got about the audit in Wisconsin?
Yeah. So generally speaking, these were people who did have a better understanding, and as far as I know, the investigation is being led by, he's a serious guy, and basically they were like the first to understand where you got to look and what you got to look for, and how things could have been done. You know, I'm trying to walk the line here on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you, you know, you get a call from people in Georgia, you get a call from people in even Arizona. They didn't really seem to understand their election enough to know how it could be exploited. And I don't mean just exploited a little bit, a lot of it. And in Wisconsin, that is not the case. And they did know. And they had identified the very tranches that we discussed that Laura and I were not able to get records for, that, you know, harvested, received and brought in on election day ballots. They were not, that information was not presented to us, and down the line. So the numbers are large. I mean, I believe there were 3,000 to 5,000 in Kenosha alone that were likely harvested incorrectly. Not likely. I mean, it's there were harvested incorrectly. The number is what is going to be in dispute, or has to be investigated and figured out. And then again, they understand the difference with indefinitely confined and which ones are the most low-hanging fruit.
Thank you.
All right? No, because I'm trying also.
I
Again,
know.
this is on YouTube, so that's a no-no too.
Yes.
But the bottom line is, that is not the case in Arizona. And as cool as that audit was, you know, I mean, it was like nice to see them attempt to, you know, look at some problems. They didn't. That audit will not address and has not addressed the fundamental problems that we told you about. I don't know if you saw on my Twitter page just a little bit ago. Somebody was like, "How did I get this ballot from California?" I mean, right away, it said right off the bat to me, that's a change of address flag. You guys know if you watch the show all the time. And that is what Barnes and I meant when we told you they outsourced a lot of the F word. And people say, well, what do you mean? Well, because if you create the ability for people to exploit, they will. That's why we have laws and why we have punishment for breaking the laws. That is human nature. And this person no longer lived in that state, had a change of address flag, and this is actually one of the worst cases, which is there was a change of address flag, yet because California is sending out ballots to everybody on the rolls unsolicited, they still sent them out to change of address flags. That's what that tells me. That one instance, that tells me they didn't even exclude the change of address flags, which I could have told. I could have given them a list, and you guys know, you've seen it. You could have given them a list in a single click of a button. Here are the people who should not get them. That's it.
Yep.
And that list always lags behind. That list is always behind because the system isn't perfect and it doesn't move in real time. It'll lag years in many cases. In this case, this person didn't even live in California anymore. They were gone. They received that ballot. In other cases, that change of address flag either didn't go through or whatever it may be, but it doesn't matter if you're sending out ballots unsolicited. You will get examples like this. I should upload this and show people. Well, let me just count it because I didn't blur out her address.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't do that without blurring out her. Yeah, I'd have to blur out her address, but holy crap, you have to see this one example. Oh my God, Laura, look at this. Holy crap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7, 8, 9.
Yeah, 9. Here's another one. Isn't this another one right here? I think this is another one. Hold on. It's so small I can barely see. Let's count this one. But we have people send us this stuff all the time, guys. All the time. It's like, how many ballots did you get at your house kind of game. Holy crap. And that is legitimate ballots. There's multiple piles. There are 4 on top. 6. Yep. And then what does it say right here? Official ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is Los Angeles. All of them came from Los Angeles County. Her address is very noticeable. But same address, all different names. And this particular woman sent it to me over the recall. How did this happen? How is this happening? I don't even know who these people are. Well, that's because Nicole Homeland UC, Michelle McLean UC, no longer lives at your address, man. She once upon a time did. Hell, I don't know how long ago.
Many moons ago.
But she no longer does now. Neither does Kamyar Shanavati or Jeremy Blacko. It looks like Blako. Or what are these names? Kadula. I'm not even trying.
Yeah.
With an A. Okay. There was like 20 letters in that last name.
It gets
Holy
crazy. I don't even
crap.
try. I'm like, listen, I'm sorry, I don't want to.
But once upon a time, they did. And if you have TDS or... Look, I think this is the difference in why it's so dangerous to one side. Because one side is a true ideology, is militant in their belief systems. Almost like an Islamic extremist is militant in their extreme systems. And they extreme in their belief systems. Mm-hmm. And they believe the ends justify the means. So they're much more likely to take all of those ballots and fill them in. And mail them back. First of all, nobody's checking the signatures. That's number one. Even if every single signature looked the same to that address, we've seen those examples before. Did we not? Yeah. We saw them in Georgia where there were multiple people at the same address, all signed in uppercase non-script. Print. But the Larry Sabato and Sean Trendy and he who shouldn't be named and the other chodes who pretend to be election experts will tell you that doesn't happen. Look, there's only two explanations. Mm-hmm. They're liars or they're ignorant.
They're both.
Or both. Three explanations. Excuse me.
Sorry.
Well, look,
you know me, I'm the same.
I tend to not think that Sean is that deceptive. I tend to think he's an example. I'd say he's more ignorant. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of these people, folks, they're not campaigners. My very first election for president, and I don't want to date myself, but it was a while ago. I volunteered. I got in the campaign. Very first one that I was old enough to vote. And we saw not voter fraud. What was election fraud right in front of our eyes. Voter fraud was something totally different, but still in a pretty big scale. The state was not competitive either, which was crazy. This is a blue state. Everyone was pretty clear the Democratic candidate would win this cycle. And yet they still felt like they should go to Asbury Park. They should go to Freehold, downtown Freehold. They should go to places like that where there are significant African-American populations and offer loosies, which are single cigarettes, to the voter's cousin or the voter's brother or whatever to pretend that they were that voter and go vote. Including when they were incarcerated. So... I doubt Sean's ever really been on the campaign trail. The real campaign trail, or really sees what happens. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and because he clearly has a history of being ignorant, all right? And believing lies that make him believe horrible things. And Robert went to town. So he says, in response to a tweet about an Army veteran in Texas who died of what they call a treatable illness because the COVID crisis left him without an available ICU bed, even though he lives 3 houses down from the emergency room and 60 miles away from some of the greatest healthcare facilities in the world. Okay, so who is at fault for Daniel Wilkinson's death? Well, the unvaccinated, because they were taking up beds. And they shouldn't. Daniel got vaccinated. He deserves a bed first, they say. Repulsive. If you aren't vaccinated and other people need an ICU bed, we should unplug you, Sean Trendy thinks. Back to quote. Throw you in the family station wagon and wish you luck. I'd even throw in the Ivor, you know what, for free. I'm not allowed to say that word on Twitter. Unquote. Robert says, this is what is repulsive. Quote tweets. The desire to discriminate against people based on perceived medical status from the professional class that thinks it knows better than everyone else. This logic gave us eugenics. Absolutely right, 100%. Sean, what you believe led to eugenics in the early 20th century, which was actually, folks, you should know, only repudiated because of what had happened with Hitler. Who knows what would have happened if we didn't find the concentration camps and fight the Nazis? Who knows? Because Hollywood was on. They were on board. The urban city machine, political machines, on board. The White House, on board. Progressive era claims. But here's the deal. Because what Sean said in that truly repulsive tweet, he based it all on his belief in a lie. All right? And what is that lie? That this is a, quote, pandemic of the unvaccinated. Folks, that is a media narrative that started during the early part of the vaccination rollout in an attempt to bully and shame everybody to get vaccinated. And it's simply not supported by the data and the literature we have. I spoke about one recent one out of Israel last week. You know it. I'm not getting into it. And another one came out I think it was Saturday, the New England Journal of Medicine. Not exactly a right-wing conspiracy theory publication. That is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 populations studied. Large groups, good population sizes, all saying the same thing. And it proves that what Sean believed, hook, line, and sinker, because he just believes whatever headline he reads, and like he reads the expert quotes in the articles, and because he views himself to be like them only in his own field, he thinks they're super smart because, of course, he's arrogant as hell, and he thinks he's super smart in his field, even though he's not, right? So he wants to take the other people in the professional class at their word regardless. And of course, the media would never lie, of course. So the expert quotes are enough for Sean. He's too damn lazy and intellectually dishonest to read the literature himself, which does not show that this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. In fact, now under Delta, quite different. Dispute the opposite. So you have to believe a lie. You first back up. You have to be so damn arrogant that your fake concept of how smart you are actually makes you more susceptible to these lies. It's really quite incredible. And in the end, we have a very arrogant, I'd say filled with hubris, political class that is being betrayed by their own arrogance, and they're really just a bunch of suckers who believe everything. Maybe, Sean, maybe we should let the ones who are too dumb to do their own research and are now hooked on you-know-whats and spreading variants at a much higher clip, maybe they should be the ones who don't get bed, Sean. Either way, it's disgusting. Are you a human being? Then a bed is first come, first serve. It is, or by obvious by how critical the condition is, which is how when so many people have responded to me, reading that, I sent it to a bunch of people, and they were like, this sounds like kind of fishy anyway, because, in our hospital, severity of the condition is what dictates who does and who doesn't get a bed, or gets a bed on the floor, or whatever. And I bet you if we dug into this anyway, what we would find is what we've been finding in many, many places, which is that hospitals only designate a certain amount to each thing. And once they are, doesn't matter if there are beds available somewhere else. Once they're at 100% capacity with what is designated to, let's say in this instance, COVID, then they call themselves 100% capacity and there's just no beds anywhere else. They're not going to go get one from the sleep clinic. You understand what I'm saying? The trick of the words all the time is gross, but the bottom line is, you're an idiot, Sean. Either way, this tweet is gross, but it's particularly gross because you were too intellectually lazy, and that stems from your arrogance, which is unearned. Your arrogance and how smart you think you are, just like the rest of you, it's unearned. That's why this hubris keeps kicking you in your own asses. Madam Producer's gone. She would have yelled at me for that one. That's why this keeps happening to you. Don't you want to know why you keep looking so stupid? Your arrogance is unearned. You're not as smart as you think you are. And now, sadly, I actually think you have the ability to grow and be smarter. You just can't. Because your ideology is so bankrupt. It's bankrupted your moral compass. And you're incapable of moving forward or growing as a person, as an individual. And it's sad, man. You know, I still have emails of you and I going back and forth before the Trump era. I saved these emails. Do you know what you wrote to me about the way forward for the Republican Party? You said that they needed what should be an ideal Republican candidate, which direction should the party go in, which would win more minority votes, increase the share of the black vote, increase even more white vote share, get you more Hispanics. What did Sean say, folks? An independent candidate, no ties to the current Republican establishment, who's a populist. That's right. That's right, Sean. Of course, one of them came along, but it wasn't cool to support him in your club. So you were so intellectually dishonest that you abandoned what you had believed for years before he came along. In case you need help, that's in the thread of us going on and on about how wrong the Republican autopsy is, the RNC's autopsy, when everyone else thought it was right. That's how long ago that was. Folks, when it comes to these people, keep the receipts. Keep your receipts. They'll bald-faced lie to you. They'll bald-faced lie to someone else about you. They'll bald-faced lie to everyone about themselves. They'll bald-faced lie every damn chance they get. Nothing is beneath these people. Nothing. I wash my hands of them. Pricks. With a lot of them. Pricks! Let me leave Sean with this. Because we all know you voted for Joe Biden, Sean. That's for you, Sean. That's for you. Repulsive! Repulsive! Repulsive is taking tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of Afghani refugees before ensuring our own citizens, including vulnerable women, are out of the country first. That's repulsive. You're repulsive. Let him marinate in that. Smell your own brand, bro. Smell your own brand. Scum. Filthy scum. Honestly, I don't even know what to say anymore. No response in the last couple of minutes. I'll throw out some show announcements. No response yet from Meghan McCain on the question of whether she still stands by our vote for Joe Biden for the purpose of. Why? What was the justification? So soldiers can have a commander-in-chief that they know has their back and will never leave them behind. And it's a simple, legit question. Do you still stand by this? So far, no response. Even though, oh boy, I mean, everybody and their mother tagged her and said, hey, you can answer this? You can answer this? You can answer this? It's a legit question. Alex Berenson's, I even put out a little statement on Locals about it because I felt that strongly about it. Alex Statement's permanent ban from Twitter is a great loss to truth over narrative in corporate media. And if Twitter was being even remotely consistent, then they would ban Bloomberg as well. They published a headline on August 27, 2021, of course, because citing the same study that came out of Israel that the rest of us were reacting to. Previous COVID prevents Delta infection better than Pfizer shot. What does that mean? Being sick and building a natural immunity is better against variants than the Pfizer shot. And that now is obviously true. And all Alex said was this, okay? This was the tweet that did it. It doesn't stop infection or transmission. Don't think of it as a vaccine. Think of it at best as a therapeutic with a limited window of efficacy and terrible side effect profile that must be dosed in advance of illness. And we want to mandate that insanity. So basically, he was just talking about the implications of the conclusion that Bloomberg even published as a result of the study. The problem is he went a step further, and doing that requires you critically think. And oh my God forbid, don't you dare, America. Don't you dare. AIER will not be supporting lockdowns and mandates over the Delta variant. Why? Even though they did the previous one to a limited extent, because it's called learning from your mistakes and adjusting as you receive better, more accurate, and sound data. Once upon a time, we had a word for that. We still use that word. It's just not used in the same it doesn't have the same definition anymore. But way back, like pre-pandemic, way back, we called that science. All right, you may have heard that. Don't get them confused. It's kind of like the word read and read. All right, spelled the same, different uses. One's perverted, and the other is not. It's just not used anymore. Oh my God, how could I? Are you serious, Madam Producer? You left the phone here in the office and bugged out, and now it's ringing on the other side of the room? Let's wait. I had a scoop here I wanted to explain and share to you, but let's wait until Madam Producer's phone stops ringing 10 feet away from me on her end of the office here. Oh, 1 second. I know what it is, too. Hi, buddy. I'll be there soon. I'm live on air right now, okay? Everyone can see me talking to you. Are you, what's your ETA? What is it? I can't hear you. What's your ETA? Oh, I'll see you in 2 minutes, okay? Hang tight. Love you too, buddy. Bye. It's like 102 degrees out. All right, so, scoop. And I'm going to explain this to you a little bit more. Biden administration is not done putting members of the U.S. Armed Services at risk. Listen, to make a long story short, the Biden administration is mandating soldiers, airmen, Marines, etc. to get vaccinations, okay? They are telling people that they are allowed to get religious exemptions and also waivers for certain medical conditions, especially since we know the connection between Pfizer and certain heart issues, okay? The responses, bottom line, they're really not. It's a lie. Because you get orders that you have to be vaccinated in order to report to those orders. And we know that he already issued an order that will immediately affects a few thousand Marines. The other affects every branch, and it's very quickly. And there's tens and tens and tens of thousands of people. All right. The bottom line is, we have documents to back this up. There's no way to go through the review board before they have to answer. It's a total catch-22. You don't show up, you get court-martialed. And yes, it says right in the documents, the punishment is a court-martial. You don't get relieved, tucked away in a file cabinet. You don't not get to go to B-knock. No. You are court-martialed, folks. No matter what, it says so right in their emails back and forth like a bunch of chumps. It says right in the emails, no matter what, whether it's a religious exemption or a medical thing, the soldier, airmen, or whoever will be sent to these counselors they have. And these counselors are supposed to just basically tell them it's safe no matter what. So even if you have a health condition, history of a health condition that we now know that's linked to one of, all right, that's all right. The bottom line is you're very low risk to have any serious side effects, even though the New England Journal of Medicine just detailed a bunch of new severe adverse effects that other people were. I can't get into there because we know the history here. All right, but on and on and on. It will impact, like I said, about a little more than 1,000 Marines very shortly. The clock is ticking. 4 days now, who are ordered to go to WTI, which is weapons tactics instruction, before they have to go somewhere else. Worst part about it is the second dose is given in remote areas where they have only field medics on hand. So if you have a history of heart disease in your family and you get this and something happens, you're in deep trouble. That's it. End of story. And this is a huge story because the Biden administration wants everybody to believe that they're giving these soldiers and airmen and, seamen, whatever, and it's not true. It's a lie. It's a catch-22. It's a lie, and they know it's a lie, which is why they're creating these people to go to receive this counseling from. And really, the counselor's just going to tell you to stop being ridiculous. It doesn't violate your conscience and won't hurt you, no matter what. I want to talk more about that, actually, and I'm going to take this conversation to locals where it's safer, and I'll do that at a later time. But 4 o'clock, I'm going to go. Folks, thanks so much, as always, for joining us. I'm going to kick rocks without the song so I can go get my son. All right? So, guys, I'll see you later. Follow me on Locals, peoplespundit.locals.com, on Getter now, at People's Pundit. Of course, I'm still on Twitter. And you can, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Always helps. Give us that, subscription, and it'll give you, and hit that notification bell so it'll give you, hopefully, a notification of when we're going to go live. Public polling project, 6 days and counting, till Labor Day, I guess, or 7 days. It's a week from today. All right, we're about a third of the way there, so, share it far and wide. All right, and we always appreciate all you guys do. All right, with that, see you guys later. Nothing but love for you, fam. Nothing but love for you. Give him a little music. Give him a little music.
The lights that shine down over dotted lines of white across an open highway, restless nights, coffee houses, clubs and neon lights. I rock the people my way, working my way, coming back to you, working my way, coming back. Take me home tonight, not wasting any time. Highway 95, engines on overdrive. From town to town, and in between, I see you in the morning